and thank you so much for joining us today. You are listening to Society Bites Radio, social interaction for the mind and soul. It is part of the Radio Ear Network family, and I am your host, Sue Ashby. And this is Over the Edge. Today I have a guest. Her name is Lisa Short. She's a soul medium and a healer. She practices Reiki and Trance Healing, Evidential Mediumship, and she mentors clients in the areas of energy and manifestation, both in person, and she can also do it remotely. So, Lisa, welcome to the show. It's so nice to have you on here.
Well, thank you, Sue. I'm honored to be a guest. Thanks for having me.
You are actually the first medium I've ever had on the show. So, and I'm particularly interested in that particular speciality. So one of the things I'm going to ask you is, tell me a little bit how you first discovered your skill and your talent. Were you at a young age?
You know, that's a really great question, Sue. And many people ask that. And honestly, I didn't notice it as a child, but I will say that I was very open and intuitive as a child. That came quite naturally. As far as mediumship goes, as you mentioned, I am a Reiki healer. And during Reiki sessions, I began to notice that I would get some information intuitively and share it with my clients. And in the past, it would always be information that dealt with their current life or something going on with them that they were carrying in their energy field. But I started picking up on information about people, and I just tell them what I see or hear or feel. I don't really filter that. And so I started telling people, oh, yes, I see a woman here, and she's older, and she's wearing this, and she's showing me whatever symbol would be that would connect with the person on the table, my Reiki client. And the client would say, oh, well, that's my grandmother. She's passed away. Or that's my dog who I used to have as a child. Because as a medium, spirit can come to me whether they're people or animals. There's no difference in that. Animals and people both communicate the same way spiritually through to the medium, as if you and I were speaking like we are right now. It's mental mediumship is what it's really called. So that was my discovery during something I already do, which is giving healing to people. I felt like I was an open channel, and spirit sees that, and they say, hey, that woman over there has her lights on. Let's go talk to her and see if we can get a message to our loved ones.
That's incredible. And obviously, because have you ever had bad news come to you when you've got somebody on the Reiki table? That must be a bit difficult. Or is it all good, positive things?
Yeah, well, okay, so my intention, and I set an intention prior to every healing session I give, is that all the information, whether it be mediumship or healing or intuitive guidance, all come in for the person's highest good. And so I would give information to people. I've never given anything that would be bad news. I feel like when I'm in a healing session, the intent is to heal. Right. And so often spirit this doesn't happen in every Reiki session, by the way, and not everyone wants to hear a mediumship reading with a Reiki session, but it happens. And this is why it happens. Whatever the person is working on, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, physically even, when they come to see me, we talk about it first. And so we set the spiritual goals for releasing or healing, whatever it is they want to work on. Well, their loved ones in spirit are with them all the time. They're around. All you have to do is talk to them mentally. So they hear what's going on. And often some messages that come through may have to do with what the person's working on. And that's why I consider myself a soul medium, because I help people honor and heal their soul. And I don't intend how that's going to happen. I allow spirit to do the work. And so that is how mediumship messages started coming through. I had the intent to allow anything to come through that would be of the highest good or healing for the person who's come to me. And lo and behold, I started communicating with people who crossed over.
That is such a wonderful, wonderful gift. I think I am pretty intuitive, but to be able to have that gift of connecting to a loved one who has died must be a wonderful experience for the person who you're healing, because obviously the message is there with love to help get the best result out of both the mediumship and the Reiki healing side of things.
That's right. And when I didn't understand all of the inner workings or the mechanics of mediumship when I started delivering messages. And that's okay. People who may experience that may notice messages or symbols or something their loved ones may send them and write it off like, oh, that can't possibly be. But mediumship is something you can develop. It's a skill. It's an ability. And so if you are intuitive, you have, and I say all people are intuitive. They either are aware of it or they're not.
Right.
Mediumship utilizes your intuitive abilities to communicate. Loved ones in spirit, I'll say before I open for a session, that loved ones in spirit may communicate with me through my clairs, clairvoyance, claircognizance, clairaudience. Those are the super sensitive gifts that we all have, but not all of us know how to interpret. And really, what you're doing is interpreting the energy or the thoughts that they're sending to you. So if you are psychic and you have that ability, you could easily move into mediumship with a little practice.
That's very interesting. So I know that you want to talk about helping protect your personal energy. You've got some practical and quick tips and ways to resolve issues by protecting your energy. Can you tell us how to do that?
Of course, yes. This is a staple of my practice. When people come to see me, typically, and they come for many reasons, but a lot of people have anxiety or stress. They may not be able to make clear decisions, and they just feel, they don't feel at ease with themselves.
Right.
And I ask them, first of all, I say, do you have a spiritual practice? Now, I ask that. Some people don't know exactly what that means, and that's okay. I just say, well, there are things that you do on a regular basis that help you feel good, that when you do them, you can get some relief from how you're feeling, if it's stressful or anxious. So, for example, I'll say, how do you ground yourself? And they'll look at me and say, I don't know. What does that mean? And so I'll say, well, grounding is as simple as taking a walk and being in nature. And what that does is it allows the extra energy in our body, and we're electromagnetic beings, and the earth is electromagnetic, and we live in this electromagnetic world, and we have to ground that energy somehow. Otherwise, it builds and builds and builds, and many times that's when we begin to feel really stressed. When the thoughts are swimming in our head and we're trying to get away from those, we're trying to do something about that. I found that grounding myself personally was a way to feel relieved from that tension. And it's the natural flow of energy going from the body into the earth. So that's one way to help with your energy into balance. Another way would be to protect your energy before you even start your day. Now, Sue, I don't know if you've heard of the term empathic.
Yes, I am one.
Okay. All right. Well, then you know what I'm talking about. And I'm empathic as well. And that was one of the first things I noticed about working with people. Being empathic is feeling all the feelings of everyone else.
Yep.
And that could mean also like walking into a room and feeling the feelings of one person, or walking into a stadium and being overwhelmed with all these other feelings that are coming to you, because your energy's open, and that's just something you're able to do. So in order to protect your energy, I suggest when you get out of bed in the morning, immediately picture yourself in a bubble of white light, and intend that the bubble of white light cannot be penetrated by anything, namely other people's energy or their feelings or their words or their thoughts. Basically, you're protecting yourself so those things bounce off of the bubble, but they do it with love. We're not trying to be, angry or push it back on people. We just want it to go away. So if you visualize the white bubble around you every single day, that's one way to help. It really does help. I've talked to clients who tell me when I don't do some of the practices I suggest to them, they notice a big difference in how they feel. Another way you can cleanse your energy is to stand in the shower. If you take a shower in the morning or whenever it is, and while you're doing it, take 20 seconds and just visualize white light coming in from above your head, and intend that it's cleansing your entire energy field. So as it flows through your body, it goes in your head, and it goes through your throat, and then to your heart, and then to your solar plexus, and down through your legs, and then out into the earth. It really goes down the drain and takes away all the dirty and dust and debris energetically that you don't need.
Now that's good. I haven't heard of that one. When I remember, I do the bubble, but the shower one sounds very interesting.
It's very helpful. I do it every day. It's a way, and I I visualize my chakras, which chakras are the energetic system we have in our energetic body. So I visualize that. But since I work with people all the time, it's very important that I use these practices. So I don't absorb other people's energy. I'll tell you that for a while, when I was having people come to my home for Reiki, I would feel their physical issues or their emotional issues long before the appointment, even 2 or 3 hours before.
Wow.
Yes, like for example, if they had a stomach ache, I would feel that. And then they would come to the door. I would say, "Hi, how are you?" "Oh, my stomach hurts," or whatever it is. And that's when I started becoming aware that I was picking up on these feelings, this energy, before they even arrived. And this was not a one-time thing. This happened over and over and over again. So I use these practices to help with that. The other thing I noticed was that, I do work with my guides. They do assist me in many, many ways during healing sessions and then just everyday life. So when I notice something that's a feeling that's not normal to me, I'll acknowledge it and I'll say thank you to my guides. You can take this away now. And it works every time. So I'll know if it's me